I'm Renee Rochelle, the founder and president of One True Match. I'm here to help you find and cultivate the love of your life. For over a decade, I've dedicated my life to the importance, purpose, and dynamic of human relationships. My team and I are disciplined by faith, love, and integrity to help our clients find the quality relationship they've always dreamt of. Each week, I will be sharing the tools and tips I've learned that have rooted my success as a matchmaker with other leaders around the world.
Hello, loves. Welcome back to another fun episode that we are going to talk about all things relationships. And today we are going to talk about the top 10 conversation starters. So last week, if you didn't watch the podcast, go back, and it was all about coming up with creative date ideas. How do we now keep the conversation flowing that leads to just deeper and longer and fun conversations that wants your date to keep coming back? So what we're going to do is I'm going to share some ideas of how to make it to the next topic of conversation that will just help you ebb and flow in your dates. So let's begin. So number one would be the icebreaker, right? How do we discuss effective icebreakers that can help ease the initial tension and create a comfortable atmosphere or environment when you're obviously with this person for the first time? You know, obviously we kind of know just things in general. I always tell everybody, start off with a compliment. Even if it's something that you wouldn't normally give, or you don't really ever tell somebody, oh, you love their, the way they look, or they're beautiful, or they're so handsome. Start off with a compliment. It's the best icebreaker in the world. Or if you want to keep it light and fun, there's so many questions you can ask. And I feel like one of the famous ones is always, if you could have dinner with anybody, who would it be and why? That are just fun little icebreaker questions that kind of just start the tone of a playful way to, just begin the conversations. Number two would be open-ended questions. Highlight the importance of asking open-ended questions and encourage meaningful conversations. So, obviously part of open-ended questions are asking them, and right now I'm laughing because of our political scenario we're in. An open-ended question would be, what do you think about politics? No, I'm just kidding. Don't ask that. But that is definitely an open-ended question. But coming up with open-ended questions that really allow them to not answer with one word. I feel like I'm doing this with my daughter all the time because I want her to tell me about her day and not just say, oh, it was fine, right? So think of things that help somebody to share more in than having it just be obviously a one-word answer. Number three would be active listening, emphasizing the value of active listening skills, such as emphasizing and asking follow-up questions. So by active listening, you are obviously, making sure that you hear what they say, that you're also, responding in a way that you're not already thinking about what you want to say before the next person does. And I mean, there is nothing more valuable than taking your time to have conversations than just trying to speed through the process of asking what's already in your head, all the questions you need to know before you go on a second date. I think that in today's dating world, that is another failure that continuously happens to people, that they don't get to the second or third date. They're in this fast and furious path of, am I going to be with this person? Am I not? Do I want to? My time is precious. It's very valuable. Do I want to continue on? Because we're all busy working professionals, right? But there is value in active listening, not only for the present, but also the future, when it comes to learning something about each other and taking the time to learn about each little subject or anything you talk about and go deeper and learn more and ask questions. Number four would be sharing interests. So, encouraging each other to talk about the things that either you've done in the past or things that maybe are in your bucket list that you've always wanted to do or want to try. Or, pickleball is obviously what I feel like everybody's doing these days, but maybe you haven't done it. Or maybe you've always wanted to go skydiving or scuba diving, or I don't know, like skiing or something that you've never done before, but maybe you've always wanted. Maybe you want to travel because you've always wanted a partner to travel with. Talk about certain things that are shared interest, but also things that are adventurous that maybe you've always wanted to do with somebody, because it is definitely helpful to have some commonalities when it comes to common interests, but it's okay if they're different. Like if one loves sports, like I'm using the example of football, for example, and the other one is not as big of a football fan. It's something that when you find the true love of your life, it's called compromising and spending time together. So every once in a while you go to a football game, right? And you bring your all and you have a blast with it. It's not something you're going to do all the time, unless you both are definitely into football and that's like your new hobby that you enjoy doing together. And if you go to a couple of those games and that's not what your like desired choice is, and you would rather be at like the museum or some concert of some symphony or something like that, guess what? If you show up with a positive attitude, with the love of your life, you'll have fun wherever you are. They'll do the same for you. So remember, the interests don't have to be exactly the same. The goal is to find somebody that you want to spend any interest together doing and continuously. Number 5 would be storytelling. So this tip that I'm giving you is about sharing your story of who you are. So, when we're going into getting to know somebody, it's obviously we're fact finding about their life and everything else. But I think the one common thing that people forget about is sharing not only where they've been, but where they are and where they want to be as a highlight reel. You don't have to get into all the very nitty gritty details of like, okay, so when I was born on this day, it was a cold, windy day, and I was born in da da da. No, like tell your story on a highlight reel. Practice before you go on the date. Listen to what you sound like. Are you constantly putting your foot in your mouth? Are you constantly like messing up what you're kind of saying because it sounds like boring, right? Practice it. Practice in front of the mirror. Is it in a way that sounds positive, encouraging, exciting, something that somebody would walk away and be like, wow, they've done something with their life and they've made something out of the thick of maybe what they've been through or the highs of what they've experienced to better their walk in life and maybe improve upon what they're doing or help others, is a definite great way to storytell. If you don't have a story yet, right? Like maybe you don't. Maybe you're still growing and you're younger in your dating phase of what you're looking for. Is it so important that you then start creating a story so that you're better prepared to have the conversations that'll be attracting that person in. Being unique is huge when it comes to the sea of dating today. Number 6 would be avoiding taboo topics. Okay, when I talk about taboo, and I mentioned earlier, of course, our clients that we're introducing to matches and, compatible people, we already ask all the really big topics, like their faith, their political difference, do they, do they drink, do they not, like all these things that matter, obviously. But when it comes to just meeting somebody that you don't know anything about, avoiding taboo topics are things like, don't go too deep in the trenches of, heaven forbid there was a death in their family or something that's just not, a positive way of keeping the conversation light and fun. But, not talking about something or bringing something back up that maybe they didn't feel comfortable sharing, because I always tell everybody, don't air all the details about everything on your first couple of dates because you don't even know if you're going to see this person again. Keep some things in reserve that are important to share with somebody that you know is going to be in your life for a longer period of time and they've fallen in love with you. So whatever you tell them, they are so ready to receive and so in love with you to respect whatever it is you went through that they only are going to love you more. Pick and choose the times to obviously talk about the deeper things and avoid those kind of taboo topics that I feel like sometimes come up early on that don't create a positive environment. Number 7 would be body language. So if you've had a bad day at work, or you've had, I don't know, something's just switched your mindset and your spirit, remember how you represent yourself is how somebody is going to see you, and there's going to be their first impression. You have like 30 seconds to impress somebody. So as I'm even sitting here today, I feel like it's important to, put your shoulders back. My mother always says, peacock, proud, shoulders back, smile, right? Peacocks are beautiful. And so remember your body language. You should always have your arms like open, not your arms folded, which just means like bug off, right? When you kind of have that crossed arm expression, or when you're sitting, sit upright, don't slouch over, lean in, that you're interested in them. Talk with the sparkle of your eyes. Now, for you men, that might sound a little bit weird, but all I'm saying is like, open your eyes when you're talking to that person. Like, don't look like you're falling asleep. Obviously, if you're exhausted and you've already planned this date, stick to it, but drink some coffee or whatever it is that's going to wake you up. Obviously, if you have something that's terrible that has happened throughout your day, then reschedule the date. But, it also, remember all the things that you do in the very beginning are little details that everybody is interpreting as they're interested or they're not. So definitely remember the way that you sit. Obviously, if you're a man, look masculine, because that's what us women are so attracted to. For a woman, come dressed to be on a date, put yourself in some heels, or if you're coming from the office, have another pair of heels in your car, and cross your legs and be feminine, but also be confident, as if this is something that you're so excited and confident in how you're representing yourself, and so interested in the person that you are sitting in front of. Another thing, which is not on here, that I'm going to add to this list, since we go through this kind of prior to these podcasts, is make sure also your phone is down. I know for anybody out there that's a mom or a dad, it's important that obviously you're able to be accessible to your children. God forbid something happens, or a family member, if there's something going on. But express that from the beginning, that, maybe your kiddos are with a babysitter, or heaven forbid somebody in your family is in the hospital or something right now, that you're going to leave your phone on the table, flipped upside down, but there could be an emergency or something of that sort. Or honestly, don't even put the phone up. I always tell everybody, take your smartwatches off, or anything that's going to actually distract you, so that you're not showing the body language that they're not important to you, and you're swiping through your watch or you're looking at your phone. Like, keep the phone flat down so you can't see the face of it, or better yet, just keep it in your purse or your wallet, your pocket, or wherever it is, or on the bench or the chair or something like that, so that you are showing you are my number one priority, and I'm excited to be here and only with you. So dedicate that quality time to a date, and in respect, find somebody that does the same and sees value in that. Is paramount to how everything will unfold in your future relationship, and value time. Okay, number 8 is faith and value, which is pretty much what we just talked about. Obviously, this is diving into, their spiritual walk. I always tell everybody, obviously, as a Christian matchmaking company, to talk about your faith, talk about your values, your morals, your beliefs in a respectful manner, obviously, but also your testimony. This is a great time when we're talking about storytelling, but to talk about the moment when you found your faith in addition to that, right? So, there's your story of your life, and then there's also your story of your testimony and your faith and where you're at, and be proud of it. It's definitely something that if you're new to discovering your faith and you're on this journey of not really sure, like you believe in God, but you've maybe led away from it, or you've had some bad experiences and now you're trying to find your faith, share that. They'll probably invite you, which is like the next step, that is number 9, is to remember to have fun, active date ideas. There's nothing better than our last podcast we just shared about fun date ideas, is to have the next date idea already in your head, so that if it's going really, really well, and knowing their common interests, because you're doing active listening, right? And you're talking about, all the things that you guys share together, that you enjoy doing, invite them to go to like the next baseball game, or to go play pickleball, or to go, I don't know, race car driving together, or golfing, or I don't know, one of the things we just talked about in the last podcast was bowling, doing the ABC alphabet dating, right? Which is super fun. And say, all right, so we're on date 1, which is letter A, right? And then go to B. Like, be playful with it too, be creative. And so, come up with some great fun date ideas that will really help you to, get to that next date, and just deeper in conversations of things that you guys can discuss. Talk about, what your normal week looks like and things like that. So you also know when you're going to be able to get together again if the date is going obviously well. And number 10 is handling awkward moments. So we get this often, and not based normally on our dates going out, but because we've equipped and we prepare all of our clients and matches really step by step how, to proceed in the process of not only the introduction to then the first date, the second date, the third date. And our goal is to get all of our clients to the third date, to the 5th date, and then the 7th golden date, which is 2 people starting to really get to that level of wanting to be exclusive and dating each other to grow the relationship and see where it goes. But if you're on a date and you haven't been introduced to anybody by us, and you're out there, meeting somebody, handling the awkward moments is definitely something that happens often. And it may be because maybe just that chemistry is not there, or you don't really know what to do because there's that awkward silent moment. Bring something up to avoid that silence period, whether it be asking that random icebreaker question, like something that's going to take them off of whatever the subject is that's kind of led to quietness, which might be something that's awkward, uncomfortable, or they don't know how to respond. So find something that you can bring up that'll obviously change the conversation in a positive way, so that you can kindly and gracefully obviously conclude or, thank them for such a wonderful time, and nobody feels that there was anything that was wrong. And remember, even if it's not the right date or the right person, sometimes we never know until we go on that 3rd date or that 4th date, and give somebody a chance. Everybody's nervous on the 1st date. You have no idea where it's going to go. Go into it looking at is it's an opportunity to try something new, meet somebody that the Lord has presented you. And it's great practice, because the more that we practice these great 10 conversational points that I've just shared, the better we're going to be when we do meet the one that will just ebb and flow, and you won't have to think about all these little steps anymore. It'll just naturally happen because you've practiced some of these great tips that'll get you to that glorious golden 7th date, we say, with the same person, so that you can sail off into the sunset knowing that you're on the right direction. And there's so many other tips and so many other exercises and ideas that we have for our couples once they begin an exclusive relationship, where it's asking the next questions to grow to the next level of their dating journey, to be seamless and also engaging on a deeper level, to know, is this the person that I could eventually see down the road forever? And so if you need some additional questions, because maybe you're somebody that is now in that exclusive relationship and you want to take it to the next level to see if it'll continue to grow into the path of maybe someday engagement and then marriage, please tune into us, or call or text or send us a message, and we would love to give you some other great suggestions when it comes to book suggestions. Check out our other podcasts, check out our other tips and tools that we have on our other previous podcast, and just topics of things that might help you when it comes to dating. So I hope you have found this beneficial and helpful. Next week, we're going to talk about my favorite, which is the 72-hour rule and the importance that it has on all relationships, not just romantic love relationships, but relationships in general when you're at your office, when you're at work, or wherever you are. And when you master this skill, it's incredible how much it changes your daily walk and your daily path. So I hope you have a blessed day, and I can't wait for our next talk next Thursday.
It's been another great talk on this episode of One True Talks by Renee Rochelle. I look forward to our next chat. Please write in your questions and comments so I can be sure to talk about whatever it is you want to discuss in our next upcoming episode. Lots of love. God bless. XOXO.